I mean, I'd only be starting at something like 80 on that one, Frankie.
80 sods.
80 quid.
All right, look, all right, 2,500 quid's a little bit strong. I will grant you that. But if I said to you 180 nicker, what would you say?
I'm getting warm. 140 quid, something like that.
You would say 140 nicker.
140
nicker.
I'd be happy. I'd be shaking your hand now at 140.
140 nicker?
Yeah.
How much have you brought here today? I mean, how much is in there?
There's 1.5.
1.5? You've got 1.5 in your pocket?
In my pocket.
Thank you very much, Tim. That's very kind of you. It's all there.
Check it there.
I just want to check it, Tim. I'm not saying that, you know, I don't trust you.
No, not at all, Frankie.
No, fair's fair.
I mean, obviously, I'll be getting a receipt with this, won't I, Frankie?
No, Tim, look, which way is the M6, brother?
Just over there.
Oh, it's down that way?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll go that way anyway, look. Yeah, don't call us, I'll call you, Tim.
I think you pushed me hard on that one. I mean, I was quite expecting to get that around 130, 140. I stretched to 150, and that was my limit.
150 for the diff. Ben and Frankie are inches away from breaking even. Back at base with the Triumph's engine and front end removed, George takes the opportunity to admire some classy 60s tech.
The type of steering this has is rack and pinion. So this rod, it's connected to the steering wheel and it runs down here, and this is called the steering rack. And in here there's a gear which actually moves. It moves this rod left to right. If you watch here, so you can see it's pushed from side to side as the steering wheel's turned. Now, a lot of the older cars of the day would have had what's called a steering box. The trouble with a steering box type system was that there was quite a bit of play available. Whereas if you want really precise steering, you needed a rack and pinion like this car's got. Look at that lock on that.
Not to be outdone, Ben has had a rummage through the assorted guff that came with the Anglia. And he's been busy tarting up some classic 60s electronics.
We found this gauge pod in the back of the Anglia. Not hooked up to anything, as most of the bits and pieces on that car were. So what I've done is created a simple little wiring loom on the back here to check all the bulbs and all the gauges work. Now basically I've got 12 volts coming from the battery to the back of the key there, and that sends the power once I turn the key on to all the other instruments. Look at that in all its illuminated glory. Now the dash did have this rather nasty looking switch in there, so we've replaced it with this lovely chrome switch with a red light. Any device you want to switch on and off, there we go. Now what we've also got on this dash are two little gauges, one for your temperature and one for your fuel level. Now I've just wired that up to a potentiometer. Now basically, in the actual car, what would happen is you'd have one of these, there'd be an arm attached to it and then a float on the end, and that float would sit on top of the petrol. And as the level of the petrol goes down, it moves the arm and moves the shaft on the potentiometer, and that varies the reading on the gauge, as you can see there, up and down. We've got a full tank. And as you twist that gently, the fuel goes down. Very simple, but effective. And what we have on the other side is something very similar. This is this will be your coolant temperature gauge. And we've got a little thermistor there. Now that is basically a little resistor that varies with the temperature. So if I get a lighter here and just apply that to that little thermistor there, you should see the gauge climbing once it gets hot enough. There we go. So there we are, we know everything works. All it needs is a little bit of a clean up now. What more could a boy want?
And Ben's hard work in refurbing the dash pays off, bringing in an internet sale of £10.41. Every little helps. Across the yard, George and Sheldon are busy stripping every saleable item from their Herald. And with time ticking away, the boys get to grips with the roof. George insisted on buying a convertible, and it looks as though he might have been right on the money.
As I said, that's not a problem. The roof, yeah, it's got your name on it. Yeah, it's been put aside.
And it seems as though the soft top could be the start of a much bigger deal.
Yeah, there's still a few bits and pieces left. Well, the good news is the fellow who bought our little Herald roof is interested in a load of other bits and pieces for the car. Yeah, the dash is there. Whereabouts you based? Pardon? Where's that?
Sheldon's phone work means a trip to the country for the lads. That country being Holland. It's a long drive, and Sheldon's decided to take George along for company. though it might be a decision he lives to regret.
Yep, lovely.
Do you know what? How many pictures of windmills have you got now?
I like windmills.
You know what? You are really beginning to worry me.
Sightseeing complete. It's time to remember that this is a business trip. And the man they've come to do business with near Arnhem is dealership owner Wilco Bajer.
The company is called Imparts BV. We're in the business of the British classic cars from the 50s and the 60s for more than 20 years now. Started off doing mainly parts. Now we have a large workshop. We sell a lot of cars. We hire out cars. Why people like these cars? Well, I like them. I have no idea why other people do them, but it's, yeah, they have their charm, so yeah.
I wonder what this is going on. Well, I know it's going to go on a Herald, but I wonder how far the restoration is. Oh, George. Oh, wow. Today, I'm in my element. I am in the most beautiful part of Holland, surrounded by the most amazing British cars. It's hard to believe that I am actually out of Britain, seeing so many old classics. I'm falling in love with this car, George.
There's loads of cars
That's
here.
beautiful. Well, Wilco, we managed to get all the bits and pieces here. I was looking for around about £400 for them.
That's a lot of money, Sheldon.
So a lot of parts, Wilco.
Yeah, but not everything is very useful for me. For instance, the dashboard, it's right-hand drive, and you appreciate we have the left-hand drive cars here?
I'm sure there's people that will contact you, and knowing that you deal in left-hand drive, and maybe just ask you, have you any possibility of a right-hand drive dash?
Well, I think it's been on the shelf for a long time.
Stanmore's business community has stuck rigidly to sterling, so Eurozone dealing is a step into the unknown for Sheldon.
I was thinking about 200 euros.
Couldn't do it for £200, let alone 200 euros.
For me, 200 euros is quite a little bit of money.
I'll come down to 350. £350, that is.
Have you any idea how much that is in euros?
What, 350?
Yeah.
Have you got a calculator?
No.
110 times 1.18. I think that was the rate when I last checked.
While Sheldon's doing the deal, I went and had a little look around. I mean, if you like British cars, this place is a wonderland. Everywhere you look, there's a British classic. I spotted a little Vitesse, a Triumph Vitesse. And this was the top spec model of our car.
Back at the deal, Sheldon is proving to be anything but a British classic.
Let's agree on 300 euros. I think that's a very good deal.
Well, I would be safe if we called it 400 euros then. That way I know I'm not being done.
Yeah, no, that really is too much. That really is too much, no. There's a lot of work to be done on all these old parts. I have to polish them, clean them before I can sell them.
All right, 300 euros then.
Yeah, I will be happy with that.
All right, all right.
All right, okay. Thank you very much.
300 euros, that's £257, I think.
George, have you managed to sort that set out yet?
Yeah, all set. Do you think we could grab a coffee before we go? I could really do with a drink.
George, my friend, that ain't your standard coffee shop. I don't think you're going to get your cafe latte, cafe au lait or frappuccino there, mate. I think it's best we get you home.
The 3 days of stripping and selling 60s classics is nearing an end. George and Sheldon went to great lengths to sell their Herald parts and are close to shifting the lot. Ben and Frankie plumped for a Ford Anglia. A moment of inspiration added pounds to a panel sale, and the two ploughed on with a major score on the diff.
Here's your diff.
Oh,
With the end in sight, another big sale could be decisive. Ever looked at a car boot and thought, that'll make a lovely sofa? No? Well, this man does. He's Spirio Antonio, a bodywork specialist with designs on the Anglia's back end, wheels and bumper.
I repair cars for a living, bodywork. I've got a few old cars myself, and I came here originally for the Lotus steel rims off this Anglia, and I saw the back end's all complete. I thought I'd make a sofa. Around about $250, I'll probably be willing to pay.
Can you throw a bit of light on what you want this for?
Well, I just saw the wheels on eBay, and then when I saw the car, I thought the back end would make a nice sofa.
Oh, cool, yeah, that would work.
In the summer for the garden.
How am I going to cut it, Spiro?
Great difficulty.
I don't like the sounds of
Probably
that.
just up to the back window. You got the bumper?
We have got a bumper.
We have.
What do you mean a bumper? I did see a bumper on this when I first saw it.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was a
Is
very
it
nice
the same bumper though?
No.
We have got a nice chrome bumper.
Can I have a look?
Well, we're coming to that later on, Spiros. There's a bumper issue. And the issue is, it ain't the bumper that I initially was going to sell him. So, Spiros, unfortunately, we are down to the nitty-gritty now, and I know what the Greeks are like, and I'm not generalising, but they do hold back on the old pound notes.
But what's that I see over there?
That is...
That better not be the bumper.
That's the bumper.
That's not the bumper that I saw.
No, that ain't the exact bumper, Spiros, but that's neither here or there.
No, the bumper... No. The bumper I saw was much better condition than that. Look at that. Have you got the nice bumper?
No, there's been a bit of a problem there, Spiros, my old mate, and I'll tell you for why.
Because you sold it to a man with the lime green Anglia?
I said to you, I want the bumper, the rear end, the lights.
Yeah.
You agreed, and now you've gone back on your word.
Yeah, well, I do tend to do that. I don't know, I'm looking at like 400 nicker.
I want to buy the back end of the car, not the whole car. I'll do you 150 for the wheels and the back end.
220 Sovereignios.
There's a strut on the boot lid I want some ashtrays at the back, and that's it, and we'll do 220.
All right, 220 softs. You got the dough there?
Got the dough.
Good boy, Spiros.
Lovely, thank you.
Now, there's your bumper. Enjoy yourself, and away you go larping,
Thank you.
brother. Yeah, love it.
I was a bit disappointed with the rear bumper. It was a nice chrome one when I first saw it, but I'm happy with the deal.
That's 220 for the Anglia back end, wheels and bumper, with struts and ashtrays thrown in for good measure. And that sale brings the swinging 60s challenge to an end, as it's time for any car leftovers to be weighed in for scrap. First up, the unsellable rust-ruined section of the Anglia shell. With scrap going at £140 a tonne, a weight of 340 kilos brings Frankie and Ben a neat little pick-me-up of 48 quid. With little left of the Herald, bar a door and a few odds and sods, it weighs in at just 51 kilograms and nets a paltry £7 for George and Sheldon. But that says nothing of total profits. So which team has swung the balance in their favour?
So here we are again, yet again, here we are.
Looks that way, doesn't it? Would you like to go first?
You sure? I mean, why did you have a go?
No, I insist. After you.
Well, we parted up with 600 nicker for this little beauty here, me and him. Total sales, 1,185 Sovereignios, giving us a total profit of 585 nicker. Bosh!
Ben and Frankie made a solid start with quick thinking on a panel deal, whilst the diff and back-end sales bumped them into profit. With phone and web sales of parts such as the gearbox and the bonnet adding to the haul, a profit of £585 proves the Anglia was ultimately a shrewd buy.
George and I, we paid £500 for our little Herald. Total sales, £1,095. So I believe that gives us a profit of £595, which does technically make us the winner.
George and Sheldon hit the ground running and kept the momentum going on sales throughout the 3 days. Additional phone and web sales on parts like engine, rear valance and chassis stripped the Herald down to a minimum. With profit rather than total sales being pivotal, it was Sheldon's purchase of the Herald that proved decisive. Sheldon and George have shaded it by just 10 quid.
Well, we've managed to keep a few more Heralds on the road, and we've won in the process. Victory is indeed a very sweet thing.
It all boils down to vehicle choices at the end of the day, and it was Ben that bullied me into buying that Anglia. He's young and headstrong, but he'll learn.
Yeah, all right, there was a few quid in it, and both teams put a couple of old classics back on the road. But at the end of the day, we won, and that's the end of it.
Well, the Ford Anglia, they don't make them like that anymore. Thank God.
Since the making of this programme, all the parts stripped have gone on to greater things. The Anglia diff is making all the difference for Tim's hot rod racer. Wilco's over the moon with his assorted Herald parts. And although Spirio has yet to fashion the Anglia back end into a sofa, that hasn't stopped him sitting on it.